Welcome to Vedic Counselor, where ancient Vedic wisdom meets modern scientific insight.
All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are jumping into the incredible world of Vedic astrology, what's also known as Jyotish, to talk about something super personal: loyalty in our relationships. We're going to explore how this ancient system can actually give us clues about the potentials and, the challenges we might face with the people we love. So here's the million-dollar question, right? Can that cosmic snapshot taken the moment you were born, your birth chart, really tell you anything about loyalty? Well, let's play detective and find out. Okay, but first things first, we have to understand the foundation here. In the Vedic tradition, marriage, or vivaha, is way more than just a piece of paper. It's seen as this sacred karmic partnership. It's a path for fulfilling your life's purpose, what's called dharma, for growing together, and of course for family. This puts our whole investigation into a really profound light. I want you to think of your birth chart less like a rigid sentence and more like a karmic blueprint. It's kind of like a super detailed weather forecast for your life. It shows you where the sunny days are, for sure, but it also points out where the potential storms and challenges you were born with might be gathering. So for our cosmic investigation, every good detective needs to know the layout of the scene, right? In astrology, the houses in a chart represent all the different areas of your life. So let's check out the specific locations where the whole story of a relationship really plays out. On that map, there are a few key spots that tell the real story. You've got the 7th house, that's the main stage for marriage and partnership. Then you have other places that govern romance, secrets, hidden desires, and even your core family values. Think of them like different rooms in the house of your life. If any of these key rooms are kind of weak or under stress, it can hint at some potential instability down the line.
Okay, so if the houses are the locations, then the planets, well, they're the cast of characters in this cosmic drama. Each one has a totally unique personality and a role to play. And it's how they talk to each other or argue with each other that creates all the plot twists in our lives.
And here's our main cast list for this particular story. You've got Venus, who represents love and the partner, and the moon, which is all about our emotional heart and our need for peace. But then you throw in actors like fiery Mars, who brings that raw, impulsive passion. And then there's the ultimate wild card, Rahu, who just loves to break the rules. The whole story of loyalty often boils down to how these characters are interacting on the stage. Let's really zoom in on our prime suspect here, Rahu. Now, in Vedic astrology, Rahu isn't actually a physical planet, it's a shadow point. But wow, it is powerful. It represents illusion, those desires we just can't shake, and this powerful urge to just smash social norms. It's the energy that pushes every boundary it can find, sometimes for good and sometimes not so much. So, where do we look for Rahu's fingerprints? Well, here are the classic signatures. When Rahu shows up in or is even just looking at the 7th house of marriage, it's a big deal. Or when it's hanging out with Venus, the planet of love, it can create this intense pull towards something different. A strong Rahu presence across that romance to marriage axis is a major clue that there could be some restlessness in the air. Okay, and this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say today. Astrology is not about doom and gloom. These placements are just indicators of a tendency, a potential path. They're absolutely not a guarantee of what's going to happen. Our free will, our consciousness, the rest of the chart, it all plays a huge role. The chart shows you the weather, right? It doesn't tell you that you have to go out and stand in the rain. Any good detective will tell you never, ever rely on a single piece of evidence. To really get what's going on, you have to look for confirmation. You've got to dig deeper into the charts, more specialized, hidden layers. And that brings us to something really critical. The main birth chart, the Rashi chart, that gives us the big picture, the overall blueprint. But for marriage specifically, Vedic astrology has a special magnified chart called the Navamsa, or D9. This is seen as the deeper truth, the final word, really, on everything to do with our partnerships. So here's the bottom line. If you see some tricky placements in the main chart, you have to go check the D9 to see if it backs up the story. A troubled 7th house or stressed out Venus in that Navamsa chart is considered a very, very strong signal that those challenges are for real. But, and this is key, a clean, strong D9 chart can act like a total shield, protecting the marriage from the issues seen on the surface. So let's say a chart has this potential for challenges, and we see it confirmed in the D9 chart. The final burning question is, when? I mean, a tendency can just sit there dormant for years and years. It needs a specific trigger to actually wake it up. So let's look at how that timing works. It's like a three-part activation code. First, the potential has to be there in the birth chart to begin with. That's step one. Second, the timing has to kick in. The person enters the major planetary period or dasha of one of the key players, like Rahu. That's like the main power getting switched on for that theme. And finally, you need a trigger. A planet moving in the sky right now, a transit, has to hit a sensitive point in the chart, and boom, that's what can set events in motion. Now, I know this might all sound a little intense, but that's really only half the story. The birth chart isn't just a map of our problems, it's also a map of our greatest strengths. Every single chart has a built-in defense system, what you could call the guardians of Dharma, or our inner compass for doing the right thing. So who are these guardians? Well, the two heavyweights are Jupiter, the great teacher of wisdom and purpose, and Saturn, the master of discipline and consequences. And on top of that, a strong sense of self, a strong personal will, represented by the Lord of the first house, is an incredibly powerful protective force. And this is how they actually protect you. A strong Jupiter just casting its wise glance on the marriage areas can be enough to steer you toward the higher path. Saturn's influence, it's like a cosmic brake pedal, bringing discipline and a very healthy respect for cause and effect. And of course, having strong character and solid family values creates a powerful foundation from the inside out. This is also where things like astrological remedies come into play. Now, these are not magic spells that just fix everything. They're seen as practices, things like specific chants or acts of charity, that are designed to strengthen these protective energies inside of us. They help bolster our own willpower and get us more in tune with the wisdom of Jupiter or the discipline of Saturn. And we have to end on this because it is so, so important. What we've talked about today has been a huge simplification. Jyotish is incredibly complex and full of nuance. You should never, ever, ever jump to conclusions based on just one or two things you see in a chart. Getting a complete, holistic reading from a qualified ethical astrologer is the only way to go. It's absolutely essential. Which really just leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? The chart might show the riverbanks. That's the karma we're born with. But how we actually choose to navigate that river, the choices we make, the awareness we bring, the effort we put in, well, that's always up to us. So is our path written in the stars, or is it written in the choices we make? I think maybe, just maybe, the real answer is a little bit of both.
If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel Vedic Counselor. For personal astrology consultation, horoscope analysis, or Vastu consultation, you can contact us on WhatsApp 919219539215 or visit our website www.vediccounselor.com. Thank you for watching.